WWE made it official tonight. We have a rematch for Clash at the Castle next weekend. It will be Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Undisputed title against AJ Styles at least one more time. And it will be an I Quit match, which you would think would put a bow on this once and for all. It's going to make it awfully tough to get another match out of this and Money in the Bank if that's what they wanted to do. So we got an answer to that question. We had the Bloodline anointing Tonga Loa, and the Bloodline standing tall at the end of the night as Paul Heyman trembled in fear. Only question now is how many more times are we going to have to sit through this until Roman Reigns is finally ready to come back? That is the question. I will say this on the Bloodline stuff. We saw out of Solo Sikoa tonight on this show an intimidating side of him that we have not seen yet. More so than any of the recent segments that they've done, which is good. You know, he was more forceful and really kind of commanded a leadership role tonight in a way that we haven't seen up to this point. But there is only so much that they are going to be able to do to try to keep this even semi-interesting before Roman Reigns is able to come back, whenever that is. And I sure hope that Roman Reigns is going to be back before SummerSlam. But he may not be. And I know we still have Jacob Fatu waiting in the wings. I mean, I'm certainly waiting for him. Any week now, he could show up. I think once he does, that could inject, you know, some real interest into a story that, for me, in many ways, outside of what we're seeing from Paul Heyman every week, is really running on fumes. How much longer can they go with this before we finally hear the music and Roman Reigns comes back? We get the CGI graphic on screen with the big giant Roman Reigns, and finally he comes back, and we can take this to whatever the next chapter of this story is going to be. I don't know, but SummerSlam feels like a lifetime away. It's not that long. I mean, really, it's 2 months. But it's going to be awfully tough, I think, for them to try to keep this interesting in the meantime, if they're going to go through this for another 2 months. I can't really say I'm looking forward to that. Logan Paul, the United States champion, not on the show tonight. He was busy. Logan Paul was a little busy. He was playing Tetris, and he couldn't be there tonight. And maybe he had the right idea, because this was a completely skippable show tonight. I certainly hope that none of you had actual plans to go out on a Friday night and to do something here, right? The weather's getting nice. I certainly hope nobody canceled their plans to stay home and watch this episode of SmackDown tonight, because that would have been a very dumb move had you done that. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review. I'll tell you what's not stupid, though. It's hanging out with me as I talk about this show here. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review for June 7th, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Super chats are open. We have a brand new one that was just added, the new $12 learning tree. So that's brand new. It's in the description.
I am the learning tree.
Well, there you go, the learning tree.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris. David Thering. Asking you shall receive. There it is. The new $12 learning tree super chat. Because if I have to sit through 4 segments on Dynamite this week of this awful learning tree nonsense, then we're gonna have some fun with it here on this stream, and I'm gonna get something in return for it. That's how I look at it. Hey, David, thank you, man. David, coming in here on a Friday night. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody. Now you can all sit under the learning tree. See, that's how it works. I also, you should know, I updated Men's Be the Booker. Took a long time. I have not gotten to the women's or tag team or any of the other ones. I've been meaning to update them. I did update the Men's Be the Booker. I don't know if we'll hit our goal tonight. If we can get at least 400 likes on this video before I get out of here, we will do Be the Booker. If not, I guess it'll have to wait until next week. So that's going to be up to you guys. And also a quick shout out to all of our channel members, part of our little Green World Order.
GWO.
That's right. That's right. Welcome back, Groovy Goose, to the Sound Off family. He just became a channel member again, so of course memberships are always open for those of you who wish to be part of our little family. A little word of warning before we get going here. For those of you who are on X, there is a phishing scam that has been going on. You may have noticed. Several people have been hacked. Lex Luger was hacked. Bill Apter was hacked. And Bill Apter is like the nicest guy in the world. And he evidently lost his account. He has now set up a new account. For those of you who wish to follow him at the Apter Chat, I want to make sure I get this right here. But they were victims of a phishing scam, hacking scam. Sean Waltman also, he fell for it, although he got his account back. Hulk Hogan got hacked. I don't know if it was part of this specific scam, but Hulk Hogan had his Twitter account hacked and apparently deleted all of his tweets, because when you go to his page now, there ain't nothing there. Which is too bad, because that means that there have been a lot of gems now. If he deleted all of his tweets, that means a lot of gems are now gone forever. Although the greatest gem of all, I know he deleted that on his own many years ago. The don't work yourselves into a work. That's been gone for a while. But there were tons of gems on his timeline. I would hate to think they're all gone now. But yeah, no, it's getting dangerous out there. So if you are on X, just be careful. Probably a good idea to change your password. Make sure you've got 2-factor authentication enabled. And just don't open any suspicious DMs. So after a recap of last week's angle, where AJ Styles led the world to believe that he was going to retire, and absolutely nobody believed him, with the exception of Cody Rhodes, who fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And then he got his ass beat for it. After recapping that at the beginning of the show, Solo Sikoa led the Bloodline to the ring, including Paul Heyman, for what they billed as the anointment of Tonga Loa, which for some reason I wrote here the ointment of Tonga Loa. I don't need to know about that. I don't need to know about that. Whatever kind of rash he may be seeing the dermatologist for is between he and his doctor. I don't need to know about what ointment Tonga Loa is using, but we did not have an ointment. We had an anointment here on this show. So they all get in the ring, and Solo directed Paul Heyman to speak, and Heyman told the crowd that until Roman Reigns is back, Solo Sikoa sits at the head of the table. And that brought us very loud chants of "We want Roman" from all of the fans in the building. Bloodline rash. Yeah, I know. It's going around. You don't want to get bloodline rash. If you leave it untreated, you end up with tribal tattoos all over your body. It's very bad. So Heyman said that Solo has declared this a double proclamation. He pointed out Tonga, already anointed by Solo as a fully fledged member of the Bloodline, but from this moment forward, he will no longer be known. Now, as he was saying this, I got worried because I thought we were back to the old WWE ways here of giving people new names. I thought we were about to get a new name for Tonga, but instead he said, from this moment forward, he will no longer be known only as Tonga. From this moment forward, he will be known as Tonga, the right-hand man. Then he turned his attention to Tonga Loa. Shout out to Gentleman RC, who just became a Sound Off superstar. A fine gentleman indeed. Turn to Tonga Loa. Even more chants now of "We want Roman." He said, from this moment on, the story of the Bloodline will never be complete if you don't include the fact that a fully fledged member of the Bloodline is now the infamous Tonga Loa. And Heyman put his head in his hands as Solo gave Tonga a hug. This man is in pain. Every week, Paul Heyman comes out there. You can't help but feel sorry for the guy. Right? He's very torn. He's all stressed out. He's probably stress eating. It's just terrible. So Heyman wished the fans in Louisville a good night, and it looked like he was ready to leave. Solo told him, hold on a second. And he asked him if he was forgetting something. Shouldn't he be thanking them from saving him last week from Kevin Owens? And so Heyman then gave the most unconvincing, insincere thank you to each man as he was sandwiched between them, the two brothers, trembling in fear. Tonga said that they could have let Kevin Owens kill him, but they saved him by orders of the tribal chief. Heyman said, allow me to return the favor to the family. He said he got there early today to do wise man things, and all he's been hearing since the moment he arrived is that Kevin Owens is looking for a piece of every single member of the Bloodline. And the fans liked that. And the fans also liked it even more when his music played and Kevin Owens walked out, no microphone in his hand. He made a beeline for the ring. He double-legged Tama to the ground. He fought off Tonga Loa when he came over, and then he went after Solo Sikoa until finally Owens got completely overwhelmed. That brought out the Street Profits. And it really hit me here, and in the main event too, but it hit me here that it's been a while since we have seen Bobby Lashley. I think the last time we saw Bobby Lashley was that backstage interaction that he had with Carmelo Hayes, which was a while ago. And so I have not heard anything about the nature of his injury. I believe he's hurt. I have not heard any specific injury mentioned. I don't know if it's something, could be a concussion. And maybe they're keeping him out as a precaution. It could be a minor injury that he'll be back from in a matter of weeks, or it could be a major injury that's going to keep him out for an extended period of time. It would be nice to get some kind of update, but they don't always say anything. You know, sometimes people just disappear without any explanation whatsoever. I don't even think they've mentioned it on TV. So whatever is ailing him, whatever injury he may be dealing with, I hope it's not too serious. But after a short brawl, Owens went and grabbed the chair. He dispatched the heels with it. No Randy Orton, who I assume is being saved for Money in the Bank for that rematch with Gunther. 1 week is not enough time to build to the rematch. Triple H already teased it. He said when Randy is ready to come back. You know, Gunther's king of the ring. Nobody's going to take that crown away from him, but he did say that there will be a second match between them. Clash at the Castle, there's no need for it. They've got a full card. They've already got 5 or 6 matches. They don't need anything else. So if they're going to do Randy Orton and Gunther, you save that for, they're in Toronto, I believe, right? Toronto for Money in the Bank. And actually, it works out perfectly that way because, you know, we're talking about Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles having a second match at Clash at the Castle. I still think that you can extend it out to a third match if they really wanted to, although after what they did tonight, I think that makes it more difficult. But the problem is that after that, there's no obvious challenger, for Cody Rhodes. So to do the Randy Orton and Gunther match at Money in the Bank, if let's say Orton was to win and Orton was to go over, again, you could have the stipulation that if Orton wins, he may not become king, but he too should be extended the same respect that Gunther had by winning the tournament by getting a shot at his brand's world title. And you've got yourself a SummerSlam match between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Now, of course, you could flip it the other way and just do a rematch that Orton loses, and then he snaps, and you could still get to the same destination. Unless Rock is coming back, it doesn't feel like he's going to be back for SummerSlam, then you could do Rock and Cody, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like that's the direction that we're headed in. So I still say Cody at Orton is the likely destination. After a commercial, Heyman was shown walking in the back. He was walking through the hallway, and Solo Sikoa stopped him, and he asked him, "Are you leaving?" And he was really pissed off about that. He told Heyman, "Go talk to Nick Aldis and make the 6-man tag match happen tonight, or else the main event is going to happen in their locker room."
I am the learning tree.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, guys.
See? It is every bit as annoying, isn't it, as it was on TV. Only at least here it's actually kind of amusing. On TV, it's just fucking terrible television. Hey, Dark Effect, thank you for sitting under the learning tree. Thank you for the $12. Thanks, guys. So he was telling Heyman the real main event's going to be in the locker room between you and Tama Tonga if you don't go make that match. And Heyman said, I like the idea of the 6-man tag a lot better. And Solo said, that's a wise choice. Well, he is the wise man. And again, here I am just sitting here waiting for Jacob Fatu to show up. It's like, what was it's a great show. HBO, and I forgot the name of it. About Pablo Escobar. Oh my God. Anyway, I was thinking of the scenes of him just sitting around. You see the memes of the actor just sitting on a swing, sitting around, looking bored, biding his time. That's me waiting around for Jacob Fatu. Just, looking at my watch, counting down the days, seeing what they end up doing with this guy. But this, all this Bloodline stuff here at the beginning of the show, like the opening segment, paint by number stuff. Heyman, though, I thought did his usual great job. He's doing a great job with it. It's just that when we compare segments like this to Bloodline segments of the past, this is very dull by comparison. Narcos, thank you. The name of it slipped my mind. I should know that because I watched Narcos and I watched the spin-off series, Narcos Mexico. We had the women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, against Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell right off the bat. Like, we were barely into the match. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. They all show up at ringside. Now, if you missed Raw on Monday night, Shayna and Zoe had a tag team title match against Bianca and Jade. That match came to an end when Alba and Isla interfered, which means that Shayna and Zoe lost their opportunity to potentially become tag team champions on Monday. And I talked about this in my review, how the lack of anger on their part was striking to me, because you would think they would have been more upset with Alba and Isla for screwing them potentially out of the titles. And so I said, I'm thinking, oh boy, I sure hope that that's not the end for Shayna and Zoe, because what a hell of a way for them to just sort of end their quest for the titles. But clearly they're keeping them in the mix. Still, it was very stupid, though, on Monday, how they reacted to that. But there wasn't much to this match. It ended with the champions hitting their combo DDT into the wheelbarrow suplex finish. It's Jade that does the wheelbarrow suplex backwards on Indi Hartwell. Jade got the pin. After the match, the 4 heels at ringside, they jumped the champs. Baszler held one of the tag team title belts. Isla Dawn held the other. And the four of them then ended up attacking each other until Jade and Bianca returned to the ring and ended up taking everybody out. And so now, this sets up a triple threat match for Clash at the Castle. Women's tag team titles, it is official. It will be Bianca and Jade defending against not only Shayna and Zoe, but also Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, because they're trying to get all the Scots on the show. We've got Piper Niven. We've got Alba and Isla. We've got Drew McIntyre. They're all going to get their big moment. It's not a stadium show, but it'll be, that arena is going to be rocking. They're going to have 10,000 people, maybe 11. And if that crowd is anything like France, it's going to be hot in that building next Saturday. That's going to be fun. Of course, they have no chance of walking out with titles here. I would be shocked if they took the titles off of Bianca and Jade this soon, because I think they like the idea of having Bianca and Jade available on both shows. They could have them on Raw. They could have them on SmackDown. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Nick Aldis came, and he found Cody Rhodes fuming and pacing back and forth in the back. And he walked over to AJ, and he told, Cody rather, and he told Cody, look, I got played by AJ too. He said it's not in the company's best interest for Cody to be fighting here in the loading dock. Somebody could get seriously hurt. And Cody told him somebody is going to get seriously hurt, and it's not going to be me. He said this is between him and AJ Styles. Sarah Schreiber was in the back to interview Apollo Crews ahead of his scheduled match with Angel from Legado del Fantasma, who also has a contract coming up very soon. As soon as he started to speak, he got jumped by Legado until officials rushed over to break things up. Nick Aldis was there. He looked completely exasperated. So then LA Knight walks into frame, and he asks Nick Aldis, where is he? He wants to know where Logan Paul is. Aldis then took his phone out, and he showed him something on his phone that we couldn't see, but he said that's where he is. And Knight said, he's playing Tetris? He said he's playing Tetris. He could have come to the show, and he would have played Tetris with him. Carmelo Hayes walked in, and he was very careful this week not to fuck up any lines after LA Knight cooked him last week for that one little mistake that he made. So Hayes walked in, he talked some smack, and when Knight pointed out that Aldis all of a sudden had an open spot on his show to fill, given what just happened, Nick Aldis made a match between LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. And can I just say, what a jabron that they made out Apollo Crews to look like here. He's in the back, he's getting all pumped up and ready for his match. He gets jumped by Legado. Now, it's not like he got jumped with weapons. He didn't get jumped with baseball bats or a crowbar or a tire iron or chairs or anything like that. You know, he got jumped. It was any backstage attack that we've ever seen, but that's enough to take him out of the mix. That's it. That's it. His match is off. Called off. We never saw him again for the rest of the night. I think that pretty much says it all, right, for his WWE run. And that is true, by the way. What they said about Logan Paul, he is in California because he is going this weekend to be participating in the, now I think the full name of it is the Classic Tetris World Championship. This is a real thing. It is being hosted, at least through the weekend, out west. And that is where Logan Paul is going to be. Now, he has been talking about this for at least a couple of months. I heard him mention this in an interview at least 2 months ago. Apparently, he's a big Tetris guy, and he wants to be a Tetris world champion. He thinks he can, whoever the champion is or the champions are, he thinks he can beat them. He's going to go, and he's going to test out his shape-shifting skills, and this has been a big deal for him. So that is why he was not on the show tonight. He was playing Tetris. And I can tell you that having watched SmackDown, frankly, I too wish I was playing Tetris tonight and think I probably would have had more fun. Row, row, Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Row, row, Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Roman is still rowing. We haven't seen him on... Oh boy.
It's a direction you can fuck.
Thank you, David. So mean. And here I was about to talk about Roman Reigns, and then The Rock shows up. The Rock is always showing up Roman Reigns. See, I see things haven't changed from WrestleMania season. Roman Reigns, once again, even in the Super Chats, ends up being treated like little brother. Alex, thank you for the 22. David, thank you for the 23. Going to be reading your messages here in just a little bit. So don't go nowhere. We'll have some fun with that. Johnny Gargano, one-on-one with Grayson Waller. They are, of course, building to a tag team title match at some point soon between these two teams. Last week it was Austin Theory and Tommaso Ciampa. Now it was Johnny Gargano and Grayson Waller, who have history going back to their NXT days. Waller attempted one of his rolling stunners early on, but it got reversed into a back suplex. Gargano, now they're on the floor. Gargano then lands a sliced bread on the floor that looked very nasty. He did not get the rotation that he was looking for. He landed on his shoulder. This looked gnarly. And he's lucky he didn't get hurt. Hopefully he didn't. After a break, Gargano worked a comeback. He landed a springboard spear for a 2 count. Gargano then, out of nowhere, landed a modified destroyer that Corey Graves really put over strong. And I got to take a moment here to, Corey Graves is putting Johnny Gargano over and Grayson Waller over. I'm going to put Corey Graves over because he was doing his damnedest to really put some of these big spots over, more so in this match than any other match on the show tonight. It's like he had a mission. His mission was to make this match out to be even better than it was. And again, the role of a lead announcer, which is still a role that Corey Graves is still, pretty virgin to. I mean, he's not been in this role for very long, is important. You want your lead announcer to have credibility so that when they get up for something, the audience feels like they have a reason to feel, up for it. Or if your lead announcer is putting somebody over in a big way, that's important. That's how some people can get over on the show. I mean, how many people do you think when Jim Ross was in his prime and he was, him and JR or him and King rather were doing their thing, it wasn't just stone cold. I mean, Jim Ross had a special ability. He had a knack to put things over in a way where he made them feel more special. Not everybody can do that. And this was just a small example, but you could tell that Corey Graves was trying very hard, a little more spice in his voice on the big spots here in this match. So Waller rolled to the outside. Gargano then went for a dive, and this was the key spot, because as Gargano is going for a dive, Waller pulls his partner, Austin Theory, who is outside the ring, pulls him in harm's way, and Austin Theory takes the impact instead and gets knocked down. Waller then shoved Gargano into the ring apron back first, and then in the ring, he landed his flipping unprettier. It's like a leaping kill switch, and he picks up the win. After the match, Waller is on the ropes. He's celebrating his big victory, but then the camera shows Austin Theory sitting on his ass outside on the floor, looking up at his partner, and he does not look very happy at all. He is not very happy. Yet another example of Theory taking offense to something that Waller either said about him or did to him. This is not the first time that this has happened. They've been building to this for a while now. So they're slowly building a breakup angle between the champs. And DIY may end up being the beneficiaries of that, because as I look at the tag team scene right now on SmackDown, the only other team that I could see, reasonably, that would end up with the tag team titles would be the Guerrillas of Destiny. At some point, wouldn't shock me at all. They end up with the WWE tag team titles. But to do that, you got to get the belts on babyfaces first. And they may take those titles from DIY at some point, but you got to get them on DIY first. So I think, they had numerous shots on Raw at those belts, and they couldn't get the job done. And I thought moving them to SmackDown would be the right move for them, because now it's fresh coat of paint, new opponents to work with, right? A new crowd to work in front of. Maybe this time they would have more success and they would finally win tag team gold. And I think they will. I think that's what this is building to. I guess the only question is, do they hold off until SummerSlam? Are they tempted to wait because SummerSlam is going to be in Cleveland and Gargano is from Cleveland, and so it would be like a big hometown win for him. But I think DIY are going to get the belts. Now, in the back, Nick Aldis approached Cody Rhodes, and this time he had security with him. And he said, just want you to know, AJ is pulling up to the building right now. He's going to be here any minute. That was a tease, because that took us into the commercial break. When they came back, Cody was back at the loading dock. He was pacing around like a caged animal. When an SUV, a black SUV, we've seen a lot of these lately on TV, a black SUV pulls up. AJ is now standing up through the sunroof. And then we also see the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows. They were driving. Or at least I think Carl Anderson was. They get out of the car. So now there's officials in between them to stop Cody from getting to them. Cody opts to take all that rage, right? Despite all his rage, he's still like a rat in a cage. He takes all that rage, he turns around, and he storms through, all the way through the gorilla position and out to the ring. No music, no whoa, no pyro. That was the most shocking part. Cody didn't get his pyro. This was not the night for pyro. This was not the night for smiles. This was not the night for slapping hands with the fans. This was not the night for giving your weight belt to a little brat in the crowd. This was a night to be pissed off about being embarrassed and beaten down at the end of last week's show. Cody has good reason to be upset. He was embarrassed in front of the world. He was the only man in that building who didn't see it coming. He should be upset. He should be pissed at himself. So he comes storming down to the ring. And he demands a microphone. He says, AJ Styles, get your ass to this ring right now. He says, we don't need security, AJ. Let's do this here and now. Styles and the Good Brothers, they walk out. Here comes Nick Aldis with a bunch of security geeks to get between them. AJ and the Good Brothers are in the aisleway. Cody's in the ring. AJ is laughing at how mad that Cody was. Oh, he was upset. Boy, was Cody upset, and AJ was so happy about that. So he says, I want you to give me what I want. He was doing his best Batista here. He goes, give me what I want, a WWE title match at Clash at the Castle. And Cody says, you want a title match at Clash at the Castle? He gives it to him, but he tells him, this is not going to be just any regular match. He says, I'm going to make you say what you should have said last week, and that is, I quit. Aldis is standing outside the ring. He looks up at Cody. He looks back behind him at AJ. He sticks his thumb out sideways. Again, another Batista thing, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And he gives the thumbs up. So he makes it official for Clash at the Castle. It will be an I Quit match for the WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Cody at that point leaves the ring. He begins to beat up some of these security geeks. He makes a beeline towards AJ. He dives at him, but there's more security there, so they catch him before he could even get close to AJ, and they carry him back to ringside. But then AJ charges down to the ring. He jumps through the air, and he blasts Cody in the head with a forearm that sent everybody down. So all the security geeks that were still there all fall down like they had no weight. They were completely weightless, and everybody falls to the ground. And AJ laughs and AJ retreats. So good to see the fire and anger out of Cody Rhodes after the angle they shot on the show last week. That was the only appropriate reaction coming out of that. And so they're going with an I Quit match. And as I said at the beginning, I think it's great. I think it's actually a very sensible stipulation given the angle they shot last week. You would do something like that. You would do maybe a no holds barred match or a last man standing match. They went with I Quit. And the only thing is, it makes it difficult now because I don't see Cody losing the title just to win it back a few weeks later. I don't think they want to take the title off Cody. Frankly, I don't think they want to take the title off of him until The Rock comes back. I think they still want him to be the champion when The Rock comes back. Remember the way The Rock was leering at the title? Can I hold the title? Let's do a belt swap. That was the last appearance we saw, and The Rock had the WWE title over his shoulder. They're not taking that title away from Cody. But in an I Quit match, it's pretty cut and dry. You got to make the other guy say I quit. There's no knockout rule. There's none of that. So if he makes AJ Styles quit in Scotland, it makes it damn near impossible for them to run it back for a third time, because not only have you pinned the guy now, you've made him say, I quit. What would be the rationale for doing it a third time at Money in the Bank? But there's no other obvious opponent for Cody at Money in the Bank. Clearly, they're not going with Cody in the Bloodline right now. I don't think they would go with Cody in Solo Sikoa, not yet. Who else is there? There's nobody else that makes sense right now. Getting a third match out of this would make sense, and then you move on to whatever he's going to do at SummerSlam. So I'm curious to see if it's just a straight-up win for Cody. There's no shenanigans. There's no controversy. They don't leave the door open for a possible third match. Very curious to see how they do this finish next weekend. It's not impossible, but it's just difficult for me to see how they're going to get around to that. And we know Cody's going to be on that Money in the Bank show, so I guess we'll see what they do. See what they go with. We had LA Knight one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes. Eric in the chat said Baron Corbin. Is that Baron? Is that you?
It's the amazing Gunther.
I think we found Baron's burner.
Loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Oh, it's Gunther. Gentleman RC.
I am the learning tree.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, boy. I'm going to regret this. Hey, Gentleman RC, thank you for the $50 Gunther bomb. It's just showing support for the channel. Your reviews have gotten me back in the wrestling scene after many years. Enthusiastic, informative, interactive, and a lot of nostalgia. A+ coverage, brother. Hey, gentlemen, that's a very nice thing for you to say. And I'm glad that I got you back in the wrestling game here. I just wish that some of these wrestling shows were a little more interesting and a little more exciting. It's been very dead, especially since WrestleMania. But I'm glad that you are with us here. And thank you for the love. Very much appreciated. Jericho sounding like a squirrel. That's what I hear when I hear Jericho. That's why I did that. Whenever I hear him speak and screech, he sounds like a fucking chipmunk. I mean, chipmunks like trees. It kind of makes sense. LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. Knight threw Hayes over the top rope. Two of them fought outside the ring. Knight repeatedly slammed his head off the announce desk, and then Hayes ran at him, and Knight backdropped him on top of the desk. When the show came back from commercial, Hayes had control. He hit a springboard clothesline for two. Hayes went to the top. Knight cut him off. Knight set up for his run up the turnbuckle spot, but Hayes moved, and it didn't matter because Knight threw him back into the ring, landed a running knee to the side of the head. LA Knight slammed Hayes and then missed the Megastar elbow. Both men traded shots until Knight finally hit the pop-up power slam and the Megastar elbow. Knight set up for the BFT, but Hayes rolled Knight up, but then LA Knight rolled Carmelo Hayes up, and his roll-up worked. Carmelo's did not. And just like that, he got the 3 count. So what they did here is they protected Carmelo Hayes in that he didn't just lose to the blunt force trauma. LA Knight could have just hit his finish and pinned him 1, 2, 3. They didn't do that, which frankly I think keeps it open for a rematch between these two. That may have also been why they went with that finish. After the match, Knight went over to the announce desk and he stole Wade Barrett's headset. And he looked into the camera and he told Logan Paul that if you're not going to come to SmackDown, then I guess I'm going to have to bring SmackDown to Logan Paul. Now, later in the show, I'm just skipping ahead because I want to connect all these segments here. Logan Paul did have a segment on the show. It was a pre-tape segment from what looked like his hotel room. He said he needed an actual challenge, so he's in Los Angeles right now to compete in the World Tetris Championships. He said he competes with the best in the world, and Knight has done nothing to merit his attention. He called LA Knight a hillbilly and told him to go back to the mid-card where he belongs. I don't know why. I laughed at that. I actually, when he said the line, I actually laughed at that. So what I got out of what LA Knight said is that he's going to be attacking Logan Paul this weekend while he's out there playing Tetris. Because if he doesn't, then what are we even doing here? Right? Isn't that what he said? He's going to bring the SmackDown to Logan Paul if Logan Paul is not going to come to SmackDown. So I am expecting now LA Knight to beat this man's ass at this tournament or convention or whatever it is. All the Tetris nerds will be there. You know, he should try to blend in with them. He should put on, glasses. He should have like a Game Boy in his hand. You know, wear like a hoodie with like the hood over him, and then stand behind Logan Paul, maybe right before he's about to break the all-time record. And then down comes the hood and he starts beating his ass. See, that would be great. That would be great. And then he can pick up the controller and he could finish the game for him. See, now that would be a boss move. But now, if he doesn't attack him out there at the Tetris tournament, I don't know what we're doing here. It's got to happen now. What I like is that, we already knew this, but what I like is that they're making it very clear. LA Knight is next in line for Logan Paul. The only question now is, this is not going to happen at Clash at the Castle. There's no reason for it to. Again, they already have a full card. There are some people, and I saw this a little bit in the chat earlier on before I went live, who think the match should happen at SummerSlam. How are they going to keep this interesting until SummerSlam? I don't think that you have to wait until SummerSlam to do the match because you can get more than one match out of it. In fact, what I would do, and what I think they may be doing, you do the first match of Money in the Bank. Logan Paul, LA Knight, US title. Logan Paul wins. He can use the knucks. He can cheat. That's what he does. He's a heel. Nothing wrong with Logan Paul winning the first match and then running it back at SummerSlam and then giving LA Knight the win and he wins the US title. So it's really not that complicated here. You don't have to worry about waiting to do the first match. They could do the first match in a month. I think Money in the Bank, when is Money in the Bank? July 6th, I think? Get 2 matches out of it instead of 1. That's perfectly fine. They're doing that with Cody and AJ. Get 2 matches out of it instead of 1, and that solves that problem. Backstage. This was great. This was great. They show Tiffany Stratton walking in the back. And can we take a moment here to acknowledge the greatness of Tiffany Stratton? Whatever she wasn't wearing much. I mean, it was all right there. And she's walking through the back. And she bumps into Nia Jax, the queen of the ring. Queen Nia. And she says, she makes the pitch that the two of them should work together and she could have her back. Then Michin shows up. Now, Michin and Nia Jax had a run-in, if you remember, backstage last week. And Nia told her that she would pay for what she said to her. So here's Michin again, and she gets up in Nia's face. And Nia tells her to make like her buddy AJ and retire for real. So Michin throws a drink. I guess she had it in her hand the entire time. She splashed a drink, looked like a soda, in Nia's face. Nia grabs her and she throws her over the whatever it was. It looked like they had some merch set up on the desk. There was a table right there. So she throws her onto this table and over this table that's there. But as she does that, Nia slips on the wet floor from the drink and she falls flat on her face. And you could hear the fans in the arena are laughing at her. You also could probably hear me because I was also laughing. So that would be embarrassing enough. You know, she gets back up. All right, you know what? We all take a spill at some point, right? Everybody has a good laugh over it. Nia gets back to her feet. Not 10 seconds go by. She slips and falls again. As people come over and they're trying to separate them and they grab Nia, she fucking falls for a second time. Twice in one segment. This is our queen. God save the queen. And get her some galoshes, please. These two are going to wrestle next week. Hopefully they'll mop up the floor before the before the bell rings. I mean, again, yeah, people fall. Shit happens. But to fall twice in the same segment, I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
By the power of Valhalla.
Oh, but this is great.
Vintage coal tar.
It's coal tar. Look at that with his antlers. David Thiering with the $51 coal tar. We got a Gunther tonight. We got a coal tar. We're bringing all the characters out tonight. Our whole cast of characters is coming out here on a Friday night. Hey, David, man, thank you. David with the $51 super chat. Can we take this bomb to the learning tree now? In all seriousness, that super chat is funny to me. Great job, Solo Carrier. Well, that's why I added it. See, I actually took what they had on Wednesday, which I thought was fucking garbage. And I said, I'm going to pop myself. And if I pop myself, then I know there'll be at least a few people who will find it funny. And if not, at least I made myself laugh. At least I'm getting something out of it. That's what you call taking a negative and turning it into a positive. Thank you, Chris Jericho. So we had the WWE Women's Champion, Bayley, out to the ring, and she got next to no reaction. That was coming from somebody who was at the show and in the building who was puzzled by the lack of reaction to Bayley. It sounded to me, I mean, it was noticeable that she didn't get a huge reaction. It didn't sound that bad, but again, they were in the building, I wasn't, and apparently she didn't get much of a reaction coming out. So she got in the ring, and she noted that she will be facing Piper Niven at Clash at the Castle, which we already knew. Barely got another word in before out walked Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green said that Bayley talks a big game for being a big loser. She said Bayley was a loser in Saudi Arabia. She was a loser last week, and she'll be a loser when Little Miss P finishes you off. So Bayley mocked Chelsea for being a mouthpiece, said that Piper doesn't need her. Bayley said that she respects Piper, but not Chelsea. And she said that she appreciated Piper ever since the first time she saw her compete, which was many years ago, in the Mae Young Classic. So Bayley said it will mean more than just a title match for Piper. She said that it will mean everything to her, and she knows how she feels because she has lost in front of everybody that she loved. Because Piper's going to be performing in front of her home country. So Niven took the microphone away from Chelsea, and this is where the segment went totally downhill. And it's not Piper Niven's fault at all. But she takes the microphone away from Chelsea, and they're walking to the ring. So as she's cutting the promo, they're walking to the ring, up the steps, into the ring to confront Bayley. She says she's going to beat the brakes off of Bayley in front of her home country. She said Bayley knows nothing about her and her journey. She said that the Mae Young Classic, that was back in 2017. That was a long time ago. And at this point in the promo, the crowd began to give Piper Niven the what treatment. Now, I know everybody gets the what treatment. It happens to everybody, male, female, veteran talent, new talent, authority figures, special guests, celebrities, right? They do it to everybody. Everybody goes through the what treatment at some point. But here, it really bugged me because she wasn't even cutting a bad promo. You could say that it was dull. I mean, you could say whatever you want, but it wasn't a bad promo. She was out there explaining why this match is so important to her and why she feels like she has been overlooked for so long. And you can make the argument, frankly, that she has been overlooked. Piper Niven is very good. And there was a lot of fanfare when WWE brought her into the company. And she really hasn't done much. So she was out there and she was explaining all of these points. And the people are just, they're out there completely shitting on her for no reason. Yeah, she's got an accent, but like you can hear what she's saying. You can understand what she's saying. Yeah, like when you have like a Japanese talent out there and they start speaking Japanese and the fans go, what? It's like, okay, yeah, very, very cute. But it had nothing to do with that. It's just she's out there cutting a promo and they are shitting on her for no reason at all. And it just completely ruined the entire promo. Completely ruined the entire segment. Just to get themselves over, just because, I don't know. They're bored, I guess. I don't know. But I felt bad for her. And it didn't rattle her or anything like that. I mean, she did acknowledge it briefly, but she just, she kept going. She cut her promo. Some people don't react well to it. It was nothing like that. I wish people were more respectful of the promo, because I think that her getting this shot at Clash at the Castle is a good thing. That we have somebody new for a change who's actually getting a title match instead of the usual suspects. And then you go ahead and you do this. I think it's ridiculous. So Piper said that she's been wrestling since 2008, won titles in the UK, in Europe, and Japan. She said that she was a world champion before she even stepped through the door here in WWE. She said that she would stand over Bayley as the new women's champion at Clash at the Castle. So again, this did not light the world on fire. Neither Bayley's promo nor Piper's promo. But that what chant, and I've already expressed myself on this what nonsense many times before. That what chant has ruined more segments in wrestling in the last 20 plus years than Vince Russo has. Okay? And it needs to go die in a fire. The chant, not Russo. Niven and Green, after a break, were shown walking backstage. They ran into Nick Aldis, who was talking to Naomi. Now, these two were talking some crap about Naomi in that promo as well. And so Naomi did her best Will Smith impression and looked at Chelsea and wanted her to keep her name out of her mouth. And Aldis made a match between Naomi and Chelsea for SmackDown next week. The main event was Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa against Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. So I guess, would you say that this makes Owens an honorary member of the Pride, since Bobby Lashley is not around? I guess so.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
I was just asking a question. You don't have to be so mean about it. Hey, Dark Effect, with the $23 Rock Super Chat. I found that's a very popular one. Rock in a cowboy hat telling you to go fuck off has turned out to be one of the more popular Super Chats that I've added. Go figure. See, The Rock's still doing big business. He hasn't even been around since WrestleMania. Still doing... Oh, boy. And Boots. Following that with Brie Mode. Thank you, Boots. It's like The Rock, putting boots to asses. Well, now that we got that out of the way, we have this main event here.
It's a direction you can fuck.
El Masse. El Masse, thank you very much for the 23. Man, I'll tell you, man. There was a spot here in this match where Montez Ford back body dropped Tama Tonga over the top rope out to the floor, and the way that his legs landed underneath him, I thought, my fear was that he tore his knee out. But thankfully he was okay. It did not look very good, though, on that landing. So the heels worked over Montez through the final commercial, and for a while thereafter, all while Kevin Owens is going crazy on the apron. He is trying to fire up this crowd, and he did, and they were super into it. Ford eventually got the hot tag to Owens, who got in the ring, and he beat the crap out of Solo Sikoa. Owens landed a swanton on Solo and tried for a stunner, but it got blocked. The two of them traded super kicks. Solo tried for a Samoan spike. Owens, though, ducked it and hit a stunner. During the pin, though, Owens got yanked out of the ring by the Gorillas of Destiny. And at that point, everything broke down. Everybody was fighting outside the ring until Montez Ford wipes everybody out with that big flipping dive over the ring post, out onto everybody. Everybody goes down. So he stands up, he's all fired up, and he's posing. And while he's doing that, Solo Sikoa blasts him across the back with a steel chair. And that was enough for the disqualification. The heels continued to work over the baby faces even after the match. Solo set up for a spike on Ford. This was inside the ring. But he stopped himself. Before he hit the Samoan spike, he stopped himself, and he elected instead to hit the ropes and come off with a spear. Roman Reigns style. And he took out Montez Ford. The show ended with all three members of the Bloodline outside the ring. They powerbombed, the triple powerbomb to Kevin Owens through the announce desk, and they pointed their fingers up to the sky, all while Paul Heyman is standing there, hand over his mouth in horror, and he slowly raises his finger into the air as well as the show flated. It flated to black, everybody. That's what the show did. I don't know what that means, but apparently that's what I said. So the show faded to black. They may yet get Randy Orton back next week, potentially, if he maybe shows up to help out his buddy. It looks like Kevin Owens is in need of some help. After all, Kevin Owens took a 30-hour flight to Saudi Arabia. You would think that 30 hours, I think, both ways. But you would think that Randy Orton would pay it back to his friend. That's really what he did. He flew all the way over there just to make the save. I think Randy should return the favor to his old pal next week. Because he's going to need something. He's going to need some help. And as far as this Bloodline story, again, I sure hope that Roman Reigns is going to be on his way back very soon. Now, it's not going to be this month, but I am hoping that maybe towards the end of next month, I'm hoping that now he would need to have some kind of involvement at SummerSlam without just showing up at SummerSlam. But that would also mean that Roman would have a match. I'm not even sure he's going to have a match at SummerSlam, which means he's probably not coming back before SummerSlam. And it's just a situation where how are they going to keep this interesting? Because I'm already on the borderline with this, right? It's not awful, but this is not the the OG Bloodline stuff they were doing. When you look back at so many of those segments, especially when Sami Zayn was involved, it was so entertaining. And everybody would go on social media, oh, this is cinema. This is cinema. I mean, they would do 35-minute talking segments, and many of them would hit, and it would be great. It would be great television, right? Those days are gone. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them back at some point, especially once Roman is back. But what they're doing now, you can't keep doing this for another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, unless you've got something big planned. And maybe that's where Jacob Fatu comes into the equation, and they can shake things up enough with him involved, depending on what role they have him playing, where it can help make things interesting again. But things are not really going to heat up until Roman is ready to come back. And I just don't know when that's going to be and if they can sustain it between now and then. I hope so, because I've got to tune in and watch these segments, and I want them to give me something that can get me as invested or nearly as invested as I once was in this story. Because they could keep adding Bloodline members until the end of time. There's so many of them. That's easy to do. The hard part is finding a way to keep the story interesting without this turning into the 2024 version of the NWO. The NWO was great at the beginning, not so much in the middle and towards the end, when it got very watered down and it became a shell of what it once was. That's what they have to try to avoid. We're not there yet, but I feel like we're getting close enough. But I will say, again, Solo Sikoa, I thought for his part, looked more intimidating on this show, acting the role, acting like a boss, more so tonight than we've seen him so far up to this point, really flexing his muscle. Now he's using the spear to take people out. He's assuming the role of tribal chief. And I understand all of this is part of that story process where he's going to be doing these things. And eventually when Roman comes back, the two of them will have to have a reckoning. But how long do we have to wait? That we don't know. I like the Cody and AJ stuff. I thought it was simple enough, simple storytelling to set up their match at Clash at the Castle. but this was a completely missable show tonight. Just felt like they were treading water. Didn't have the U.S. champion, didn't have Randy Orton, didn't have a few people. And it felt that way. It felt it. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll after I'm done dancing here with Prince Nana. Thank you, David. Look at that. Look at that guy. Does he have the moves? No? Okay, let's move on. What did you think of SmackDown for June 7th? I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you. Benjamin Espinoza with the 20... Benjamin was awfully busy on the stream. Was it last week? Was it Benjamin with all the Brie modes? I think it was. He's very fond of Brie. I think he's got a thing for Brie. You may have to fight Bryan Danielson for her. What did you think of SmackDown for June 7th? 56% thumbs up, 27% thumbs in the middle, and 16% thumbs down. With just shy of 850 votes in so far and counting. So if you're not hacked, hop on X. You could vote in the poll too. I don't know. All these wrestlers getting hacked. You know, I used to make fun of the wrestlers who would post something really fucking stupid and then they would be like, oh, I got hacked. It's like, no, you didn't. But now they really are. Now they really are getting hacked. What is their password? What is their, like Hulk Hogan, for example? What is his password? Brother? The fuck? Lex Luger, what's your password? Total package? Maybe it's a wrestler thing. Change your passwords. My goodness. Oh, man. Hey, WWE Wrestling and Gaming. Thank you for the $2. Thoughts on Peacemaker? Believe it or not, you know, I've heard a lot of really positive things about the show and John Cena's performance. I've not watched Peacemaker yet, and I feel like I need to. I feel like I should, because I've seen a lot of good feedback about it. So I can't tell you until I watch it. Hey, I'm going to go back here because there were some that you will not see in the list. Let's start with the early ones. Groovy Goose. Had to step away from wrestling to focus on my personal growth for a bit. Now I'm back to watching the best podcaster in the game do his thing. Well, thank you, sir. Again, Groovy Goose was early on here in the stream. Becoming a channel member again. I thank you very much, Groovy Goose. Good to have you back, brother. We have got Smokin' Dried Chicken Without Flavor with a 5. Tony Khan, hee. He has officially lost his damn mind. Whoever is trying to defend TK's recent tweets, those people need to stay quiet. Hey, Muhammad. What's going on? Hello, Muhammad. Muhammad says hi. Kevin says I would laugh my ass off if that isn't Hogan's password. I'm telling you, I guarantee you, Hogan's password was either brother, dude, or Jack. And then he got fucking hacked. So now he needs to change it. It needs to be like brother 2 or something. But to Dried Chicken's point about Tony Khan's tweets, you know, I saw Tony Khan, in his defense, I saw Tony Khan get a lot of shit from people. He posted a tweet, I think it was yesterday, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it was something about how he books for the sickos because that's who he is and that's who he cares about or something. And, you know, I immediately thought of the movie Tommy Boy because that's a line from, I think, a Dan Aykroyd line from the movie. And Tommy Boy's a great movie if you haven't seen it. So, because I have to remind myself, like, he and I, we're basically like the same age. I mean, we're from the same generation. I think Tony Khan was born 2 days before or 2 days after me. So, you know, we kind of grew up around the same time. That's why he would know Tommy Boy. That's all it was. It was a reference to the movie Tommy Boy, but people were jumping on it like, oh my God, he's saying the quiet part out loud. Now look, there are a lot of sickos that watch WWE and AEW, and unfortunately, I've heard from them. I've had to interact with them. I've dealt with them. I've gotten comments from them. These are real people, okay? There are many sickos that he is referring to. Yes, that's a real thing. But no, it was a Tommy Boy reference. We don't need to jump down the man's throat. He was making a joke. He has posted far more dumb shit than that on Twitter, where he should have kept his mouth shut. I think people need to just pipe down here. Maybe it's people that didn't see the movie and so they didn't get the reference. That could be what it is. Bobby's World. Bobby's World. Look at this. Bobby coming in with not one, but two $20 super chats. That's $40 from Bobby. Today is my 45th birthday, and I am once again donating to the best wrestling podcaster ever. Also from Monday, Brett versus Roman versus Christian versus Danhausen. Take my money anyway. Yes, that was our main event in Be the Booker. That was our B2B main event, which we may not be doing tonight because we're only at 327 likes, so better get that likes count up. But first of all, Bobby, happy birthday.
With a tear in my eye.
With a tear in my eye, I'm telling you, happy birthday, brother. I hope it was a good one. He also says, Danhausen goes over because none of the others want to do the job. It's in Canada and Roman is Roman, and they fight off. I know there's no countouts, but Danhausen is the only one in the ring, and the referee gives it to him. Well, now you're just being silly. The only reason Danhausen would be in that match is to take the pin. Okay, and if you think anything else, I'm sorry to say, you are out to lunch. Hey, Ishmael with the $4.99. Do I know if House of Glory is doing any mail-in? There's an autograph that he wants on his encyclopedia. I cannot attend the show because I am in California. I don't believe so. I'm not sure, but I don't believe so. What I would say, if you want to drop me an email, you drop me an email, the Solomonster@gmail.com. I can inquire for you because I don't know. I'm not aware of them doing that. But send me an email just to remind me because there's so much going on between now and the show tomorrow. I'm just going to forget. But I could try to look into it for you. Do the best I can. But thank you, brother. Prince Vegeta, 95. Why do they keep delaying the Street Profits split and Montez heel turn? It's clear that this pride thing is treading water and Lashley is a better heel. Because Lashley is hurt and he has not been on television in a month. So that would be why it feels like the whole pride thing is completely stalled out right now. And I have no idea exactly when we're going to see Lashley back because they haven't said anything to us about the nature of his injury. So, unfortunately, I think they're going to be stuck in neutral for a while now. David, we already talked about the Peacemaker one. David Thiering with the $12 learning tree. Time for my first peek of what Solo thinks of the learning tree. Chris Jericho gimmick. Hey, Solomonster, love that you're keeping Super Chats new and fresh. Have a good review. I will be listening. David, thank you. I know David's with us right now. Yeah, I always try to cycle some out. I don't want the list to get overly long. So I did get rid of one. I won't tell you which one it was, but I got rid of one. We move a new one in. We cycle them out every now and then and try to keep things fresh. Donnie Yasu, missed SmackDown tonight, but no worries. I have the sound off. See, that's what you always have the sound off, so you never have to worry. The Juliet, not even the Hulkster is immune to being hacked. Well, not when you have a terrible password. Jerome Eugenio, is this the most generic era for music in WWE history? Yes. Yes, it is. Like, I didn't even need to think about that. The answer is yes. Even if you go back to the early era of theme music in this company in the 80s, it had more personality than the current era of music does by far. Okay? And that was 40 fucking years ago. You may say that some of those songs were really cheesy if you go back and listen to them now. I mean, a lot of the stuff from the 80s was cheesy. But it was unique, it had personality, it would suit certain people's characters. You definitely don't have that much, or have that as much now. There are some, look, I'm not going to say that there aren't some really good songs. Roman Reigns, right? I think Roman Reigns' theme song is a Def Rebel song. It's not like they're, 0 for 100. But my God, their batting average, when you look at their overall average, it ain't good. And it's not just a Def Rebel issue. Okay, let's not pretend the Def Rebel came in and all of a sudden theme music is terrible, whereas before it was so great. It wasn't that great before either. It was better, but let's not pretend that it was that much better. They've had a theme music problem now for many, many years. And it goes all the way back to when they got rid of Jim Johnston. That guy had a knack for doing what he did. He was a huge asset to the company, and I think a lot of people realized that after he was gone. It's the classic case of you don't know what you got until it's gone. You take something or someone for granted, and when they're no longer there, you realize how much you really miss them and valued their work. And yet the man is still at home. I mean, they could pick up the phone and call him if they wanted to, but there he sits. I am so damn hyped for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, says Abdirazak. Abdirazak Warsame. Well, I'm glad you are hyped for Dragon Ball. I haven't seen a single episode in my entire life. But I am glad that you are excited. It's good to have something to be excited for. Dom Joseph. MJF getting $15 million a year. If true, it is deserved. There's no way he's getting $15 million a year. I don't know where that started, but yeah, I don't think so. Dark Effect with the $12 learning tree. Alvin and the Chipmunks love the learning tree. Just showing my appreciation for what you do here with these reviews and everything, keeping me updated. Oh, poor Sting. You know, that's actually one of my favorite super chats. That's just a classic. TNA. That was at one time TNA in a nutshell. That will never not make me laugh.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa BRO.
And Samoa BRO agrees with me. Dark Effect, I thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Alex says, Brother Solo, what is your favorite I Quit match? Ooh, favorite I Quit match. Well, there was an I Quit match that John Cena and Randy Orton had. I think that was the Breaking Point match in 2009. And that one was pretty good from what I remember, so I may have to go with that one. Huh. I think that'd be a good choice. David Thiering with the $23 super chat drop. Man, David is all over the place tonight, man. He is all over the stream. I love it. Says, oh, that was the Rock one. Off is the direction that you can fuck. And he says, is what I would say to the learning tree gimmick of Chris Jericho on AEW TV in general. Apologies for interrupting the review. Carry on. No, you can, you are more than welcome to let everybody know what you think of the learning tree, as I did on Wednesday. Edwin Garcia, LA Knight flying to Puerto Rico to invade Logan Paul's house. Yeah, but Logan Paul's not at his house. He's got to go to California. He's got to go to the Tetris tournament. That's the whole point. I want LA Knight to vlog his trip to the Tetris World Championships. I want him to have the glasses on. Like I said, the hoodie. I want him to have the backpack on. And he's just vlogging and filming himself as he's walking through. I picture like a Comic-Con type setting. He's kind of walking through and, you know, just filming himself interacting with people and asking about Logan Paul. And then ultimately attacking Logan Paul. That's what I would like to see. That's what I'm hoping they do. By the way, someone said, my favorite one is Austin against Brett at WrestleMania 13. That was not an I Quit match. That was a submission match. So that is why I didn't say Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. If the question was submission match, then that's easily number one. So there is a difference between the two of them. That's why I didn't say that one. That's one of the greatest matches in the history of the company. Not even WrestleMania, the company. And honestly, if you were to tell me you thought that was the best match in WWE history, you would get no argument out of me. It's certainly in the conversation. The Real CSO2 with the $9.99 says, Elon has ruined Twitter. My account got permanently suspended Wednesday, and I didn't even do anything wrong. I sent multiple appeals, and they are still refusing to give me my account back. Well, that's what happens when he fires his entire staff and it's run by fucking porn bots. Unfortunately.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
That's right. That's the real CS sending a message to Elon Musk right there. Could not have said it any better than The Rock. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I mean, all I can say is keep appealing. There is an appeals process. But I'm serious. I mean, he got rid of so many people that worked for the platform. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, unfortunately. But hey, at least you know that when you post on Twitter, the first reply that you'll always see is, my nudes in profile. You won't find my nudes in my profile. Thank God for that. He also says, I think Theory turning babyface will do wonders for his career. I think it will finally give him a personality. I disagree. You know, I thought that this would be a big help to him in that respect, that it would help bring out some more of that charisma and personality, this pairing with Grayson Waller. And it really hasn't. And I don't see turning him babyface. I just don't see it making a difference. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see him be successful. They could use another big babyface on that show. But, I mean, do you see something that I don't as far as it giving him a personality? What evidence have you seen of this? I've seen no evidence whatsoever. I haven't seen anything to support that. Gentleman RC with the $50 Gunther drop. Just showing support for the channel. This is what I read before. This is a very, very kind message. I appreciate you saying that. You saying that makes me feel good about what I do. So thank you. Base Beerus, God of Seduction, we are all branches. Speak for yourself. Also says, Cody better not have an I Quit match with The Rock. No, I don't think it's going to be an I Quit match. It's not going to be an I Quit match. He's already having one with AJ. So that should take it off the table for The Rock anyway. David Thiering with the $51 coal tar. Can we take this bomb to the learning tree? You can take that bomb anywhere you want to. Let's blow up the learning tree. I like the way you think. Let's blow the whole thing up. Dark Effect with the $23 super chat. Favorite finishers of all time. My personal favorites are Sweet Chin Music, the Batista Bomb, Swanton Bomb, before AEW where he killed people, the Grapevine Ankle Lock. P.S. By popping yourself, you popped the whole chat. Well, good. I misread that. I thought that said pooping. By pooping yourself. That also would probably pop the chat if I did this. But see, if I did that, you wouldn't know because I wouldn't tell you. But if I make like a weird face, then maybe you could tell. But no. I didn't poop myself, but I did pop myself. Favorite finishers of all time. Man, the Sharpshooter has got to be way up there on the list. Love the Sharpshooter. Love the Stunner. Love the way that different people sold the Stunner in different ways. I was a fan of a lot of finishers. When Vader was hitting that Vader bomb, like in WCW, when he would come off the ropes and crash down with all of his weight, I was a big fan of the Vader bomb. You know what I'm a big fan of? And it's the simplest move. And people use it now, not even as a finish. They use it as just a move. The power bomb, but like when Sid would do the power bomb. Diesel would hit the jackknife, Sid would do the power bomb, but especially Sid, for some reason, was always a fan of the powerbomb. And again, now it's just become, I mean, like so many other moves, the DDT. And, you know, there was a time where it was used as a finish by guys who were actually over. And those days, unfortunately, are long gone. But I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of the powerbomb. Even still, even after all these years. So those would be some of my favorites. Dark Effect, the what chant is the worst thing Stone Cold ever did. Well, I mean, I could think of one other thing. It's certainly the second worst thing that Stone Cold ever did. That we can agree on. Boots with the $25 Brie mode. Hey, Solo. What it do? Here's a small dono to get you a little closer to the purchase of the Pure Plank. Have you played? Well, I am considering it. I talked about this the other night on the Dynamite stream. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, they have a business venture. They have a product. It's a board called the Pure Plank. For those who like planking, if you don't know what planking is, you can look it up on YouTube. But the board gives you more stability, so your arms are not digging into the mat on the floor, and you got handles you can grip. And it's just a good way, like, you're not going to get abs unless you change your diet. Like, I've seen plenty of people mention that you can't outrun a shitty diet, and, you know, you don't get abs in the gym, you get abs in the kitchen, and all that is true. So it's not about that, but, like, it really helps build your core, like core strength. And I'm considering it just because I think that it probably would be better for your forearms to be using something like that, but it's like $120. I can't justify it. I could afford it, but like that's not the point. Can I justify it? Is it necessary? Probably not. But if I get one, if I do get one, yes, I probably would do a review for it. Hey, Boots, thank you. He also says, have you played Tetris Effect? It's a great game to play while listening to the sound off or any audiobook on Audible. No, I have not. I've not played any newer Tetris games. I still have memories of the original. I played it on Nintendo and Game Boy when it was in black and white. I used to play Dr. Mario. I used to like all those games. But I have not played Tetris Effect. What platform is it even for? It's not like I have any of the newer gaming platforms anyway. El Masse. Kevin Dunn's Beaver says Solomonster getting shredded for Liv Morgan. Well, if that's my goal, I got some work to do. We're not there yet, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't. It's weird. Like, I don't know what to do. It's such a simple thing. You would think, like, you know, if you wanted to tone up, you know, like, what do you do? Right? Because a diet is obviously a very big part of it, but I mean, like in the gym, like I need somebody to guide me. I've been going to this gym now that I go to for so long. Like, I'm not gonna first go in there now after all these years and go, oh, I need a personal trainer. Like, I wouldn't go to somebody there. It would be embarrassing because I've already been there for so long. But I feel like that's what I need. I tell you, man, if I had a personal trainer, I'm telling you, man, I would show up here one day on this stream. I'd look like Brian fucking Cage. I just need that. I need something like put down for me. This is what you do, you know? Kick me in the ass. Here we go. This is what you do. Here's your plan. Here's your 10-step plan. I don't have that. That's what I need. El Masse says, roast my creative. They put Solo and Money in the Bank when Jay is about to grab the briefcase. Jacob Fatu debuts and costs Jay the briefcase, and Solo wins it, and then gives it to The Rock in exchange for his anointment as the tribal chief. There's one problem with your plan. It's not a terrible plan, but here's why I wouldn't do it. Because why does The Rock need a briefcase to get a title match? You know, we joke about Charlotte, you know, Charlotte Flair, Charlotte in the Bank. The Rock is on the board of directors. The Rock is The Rock. The Rock literally walked in and was about to steal a WrestleMania main event from the Royal Rumble winner, who was supposed to get a title match at WrestleMania. And he was this close from just literally walking in and just saying, no, it's going to be me and Roman. You think he needs a briefcase to get a title match? The Rock don't need no briefcase. It would be a waste of the briefcase. So you don't do that. So there's your roast. El Mas say thank you. I mean, of all the people who literally could just gift himself whatever he wants, including a title match, The Rock is the last person in the world that needs the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's just silly. That's right. He's got a belt anyway. He's already got a belt. What does he need the belt for? He's got a belt. David Thiering. Let's bring out another character tonight, guys, to the stream, shall we? That was the $7 super chat. David, thank you. Benjamin Espinoza with the Bree mode. Hey, Benjamin, thank you. Joseph Stewart with the $9.99. Do you remember when Macho Man Randy Savage had a stable called Team Madness in WCW in mid-99 with Gorgeous George, Medusa, Ms. Madness, and Sid Vicious? Were you a fan? I do remember it. I don't remember Sid being a part of it. I remember, Molly Holly was Ms. Madness. I remember Gorgeous George. I remember Medusa being in it. I don't have any memory of Sid Vicious being in it. I wasn't a fan because at that point in WCW, I wasn't a fan of anything. Like, that company was already going down the fucking tubes. And it was sad to see. So I can't say that I was a fan of it. But you mentioned Sid, and I just don't have any memory of him even being a part of that. M. Mills with the 1992. M. Mills, I hope you have a great weekend, wherever you may be. Corey Blake with the 10. Hey, Solo, happy birthday to the hardcore legend Mick Foley. And I know that you love slasher films. Highly recommend that you see the new movie In a Violent Nature. I've been hearing a lot about that movie. Now, is that the one, or unless I'm thinking of a different one, is that the one that's shot from the perspective of the killer? I heard it's very gory. It's very brutal, but it's a very innovative way of doing a slasher film. So I'll have to look into that. I don't even know if it's showing in my local theater or not, but I'm sure at some point I'll definitely check it out. Raph. LastPass should do an ad campaign for wrestlers. Thank you, Raph. Base Beerus, is Daphne in Be the Booker? She was great. I believe she is, yes. She should be. Chris AXC. Triple H is going to have all the Scots lose next week, isn't he? I think so. I think he is. I mean, Drew is the only one who I think has any real shot, and I think CM Punk may fuck him over. But I will do my Clash at the Castle predictions on the podcast on Sunday. Alex says, have you noticed recently there is a short period of time between pay-per-views, usually 3 weeks? What are your thoughts on that? I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I think you want to have at least a month, and frankly, even 6 to 8 weeks would be better. 6 weeks would be better, but 2 weeks is too soon. 3 weeks is too soon. Not a fan of it. Kevin Dunn's Beaver. What would you do if Raw went to 4 hours? I would be doing something else on my Monday nights. That's what I would be doing. I certainly would not be reviewing Raw. If anything, I would be reviewing it on Tuesday during the day. I can't do it at night. We've got Tuesday Night Titans. But yeah, you would not be seeing me live on a Monday night if Raw went to 4 hours. I would be in my bed counting sheep. Or Tiffany Stratton, whatever she was wearing. I would be counting, well, I won't get into that. David Thiering with the $18 Samoa Bro. How diverse can this stream get with Super Chat animations? Felt SmackDown was safe, in my opinion. Solo, albeit it did advance some stories. Can't wait for Roman's return. I feel it will be epic. I mean, just listen to these crowds, how loud they're chanting, "We want Roman." As soon as they hit that first chord of his music, they're going to go crazy. And he hasn't even done anything to turn babyface, but the fans will turn him babyface. I've always said that. I said once he loses the title, or gets kicked out of his own bloodline, yeah, however they work it, he's going to end up being the biggest babyface in the entire company. They will finally realize the vision that Vince McMahon had many years ago of wanting him to be his top babyface. And his mistake was he didn't give Roman a good singles heel run before doing it. He just said, nope, this is my new babyface. We're going to put blue contact lenses in his eyes. He's going to talk about suffer and succotash, and the fans are going to accept it. And the fans shat all over it. Every great babyface comes from being a great heel. There are very few exceptions to that rule. Roman was mishandled, right? He was in a great spot. He was still pushed as their number one guy, but it was through no fault of his own that he had all of that blowback from the crowds. And it was all because they were very short-sighted, I think, in the way that they went about booking him. I think they were just very eager. Vince was very eager to replace John Cena because he knew Cena was not always going to be there. And he felt like he didn't have anybody else ready on deck, you know, in the batter's circle, in the batter's box. And he said, well, this is my guy. And it worked with Cena, so we're going to shove him down everybody's throats. And boy, I can remember sitting in the stadium for multiple WrestleManias. In fact, I sat there in the stadium, I think, for 4 straight WrestleManias. I think it was 31, 32, 33, and 34. And as somebody who was live and in the building, every single one of those WrestleManias, and it was progressively worse. It got progressively worse, each one. Those people were booing him out of the building. And this is their top babyface in the main event of WrestleMania. Nick Grasso. After tonight, are they going to team up Tiffany and Nia? Just please no. We don't need Tiffany being dragged down by slippery Nia. Also, Bayley's title reign has fallen flat. Do you agree? It's only been a couple of months, but yes, it feels very flat because they don't have any good challengers for her. They had nobody on deck to step up and challenge her for the title that people cared about. And it's definitely showing. Nia and Tiffany teaming is something I thought we were going to get even after the Queen of the Ring. So, yeah, I think that there's a very good chance that's what we're going to get, at least for a little bit. And if they don't have anything better for Tiffany Stratton to do, I mean, would you rather her not be on TV? What else is Tiffany Stratton going to do if she's not going to be challenging for the title? Like, what would you have her do? This is my question to everybody, not just Nick. Like, look at the women's roster right now on SmackDown and take Bayley out of the picture. And Bianca and Jade, they're doing the tag team title thing. What would you have Tiffany Stratton do? Where is there a great story for her, if not just being put together with Nia as some sort of pairing for a period of time? You know, I mean, we're going to get Charlotte Flair back in a few months. I don't know if they'll go right into it, but certainly Charlotte and Tiffany, I mean, that could be a WrestleMania match. I don't think they want to rush right into that. It's not as if they have all of these great options, you know, for things for her to do. TK Banks, the 25th anniversary of SmackDown is coming up here in August. Curious to hear your thoughts on your favorite SmackDown moments or even make a top 10 list. Well, maybe as we get closer. I didn't realize it was 25.
I am the learning tree.
Son of a bitch.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Isaiah, thank you. See, I told you I popped myself. I didn't even realize that it was 25 years, but yeah, it is 25 years this August from when SmackDown officially got picked up. You know, they had a pilot episode that aired in April of that year, but in August is when the show actually started. 25 years for $25 of Brie mode. A Dark Effect, thank you. But that's not a bad idea. Maybe as we get closer, I'll consider some sort of top 25 list of matches or moments in SmackDown history. That could be something to do. Barry MK with the $25 super chat, or $23 super chat. Did you see that a guy spent $400 to unlock a new version of The Rock in 2K24, which has the same entrance and moveset as a Rock already unlocked? You need the right set of cards to get him. Well, look, I mean, I've had people drop $400 and $500 super chats on me here on these streams, so I'm not one to sit here and tell people how to spend their money, but if you're telling me that there is already a Rock in 2K24 with the same moves and everything that this version of The Rock has, then I don't really understand why you would spend $400. I think you should take that $400 and spend it some other way. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. But to each their own. Frankly, I think you're a hell of a lot better off spending $400 on this stream than you would 2K24 or anything associated with 2K24. I mean, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest here. Smoking dry chicken without flavor. All right. This chicken will say something nice to Tony Khan. His sister, Shanna Khan, is smoking hot. I didn't even know he had a sister. I thought you said Shaka Khan. Does he really have a sister? I didn't know that. I may have to look her up now. The Real CS says, I'm using this time away. I'm using his time from the way in NXT. If they let him be that, oh, he's talking about Austin Theory. If they let him be that person, he will definitely get over. So basically, if they use him as a comedy gimmick, which they were kind of already doing at one point, although he was still a heel. But when he was in the way, he was a total comedy geek. So yeah, I could see that getting over, but he'll never get over at a main event level. If they see main event level potential in him, and I think there is main event level potential there, that's the last thing that he should be doing. It is like another version of R-Truth, which is basically what he was doing in the way. So, you know, again, I can't say that I agree with that. I guess it all depends on what...
I am the learning tree.
I guess...
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. I guess it all depends on what role do you have in mind for him. Do you want him to be a main eventer, or do you just want him to be over as a babyface? R-Truth is over as a babyface. R-Truth in this current incarnation will never be WWE champion. You know, and it was kind of sad because I saw that he was on TikTok, R-Truth was, the other day. And I guess he was doing some live Q&A, people were asking him questions, and he was being very introspective for a moment. And I think somebody asked him, do you have any regrets in your career or your life? Or I think it was his career. And he got serious and he said, yeah, like he again, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but basically he's like unhappy in the role that he has ended up in. Like he saw more for himself, which he should have. I mean, it's at one point he was the NWA world champion. And I'm sure everybody wants to be world champion one day. There was potential in that back in 2010 or 2011, I think it was, when he went heel and he was smoking cigarettes on TV. And I'm like, this is the most interesting this man has been in years. Like, he had main event level heel potential during that run. He got a pay-per-view match with John Cena and then he lost. And that was as high as he ever got. But he was being very introspective the other day. And like, you know, I really... Yeah, basically he's disappointed in the spot that he ended up in, which is not a terrible spot. Like, I'm sure he gets paid well to go out there and make people laugh and do these funny things on TV, but, you know, that's it. That's all they have him do. He goes out there and he's a complete, like, fucking joke when he goes out there, because that's his role on the show. He's comedy fodder, and he will never get a shot to be a world champion and taken seriously when he's out there doing the stuff that he's doing. I still feel like there's potential there. If he knows his career is winding down And he's planning at some point like, okay, this is going to be the last year of my career. And he goes to Triple H and says, you know, I really feel like I've got a real run in me. And I think there's a story here where we could build to me trying to get to the world title for the first time in my career in WWE. And he shed the comedy stuff. You could absolutely book, like, I would love to just like book this story for R-Truth, where he comes out on television and he's just one night being honest with the fans, and he makes it very clear, like, it's amazing that I've been able to go out there and have so much fun and all my tag team partners and the things I've done, and I make people smile, and nothing brings me greater joy than that. But there's this feeling I can't help but shake, this feeling of being unfulfilled, that there's one goal I was never able to attain here in WWE, and it was being a world heavyweight champion. And you start this story arc where you stop booking him like a fucking cartoon character, and you actually get serious, and you have him make a run at at least the big gold belt, the world heavyweight title. I absolutely think the fans would go on that journey with him and could get behind him, because he is so likable. He's been around for so long. He's well respected. And I think he deserves at least that story, if that's what he wants before he retires. Whether he wins the title or he just gets this close and falls short, either way, I think that people would be willing to get behind that story. I do. I just don't know if it's the story that Triple H has any interest in telling. So it was kind of sad, you know, to hear him say that, because I didn't know he felt that way. You know, but it's understandable though. The Juliet, everybody is now unbanned from Collision. Yes, that was one of the super chats that finally got retired. That and the Wooings went into an early retirement to make way for some new ones. Base Beerus, I meant Rocky is dangerous in I Quit Man. Oh, yes. Yes, he is. He's very dangerous in I Quit Man. Luis, couldn't watch SmackDown again. I can't get the effing antenna to receive KTTV's signal. The antenna? What is this, 1984? You watching on the UHF signal? What do you got going on over there? I was just thinking the Married with Children episode where they used to make fun of Fox, which is the network that they aired on, and so they would all right, everybody, get into your Fox network viewing positions, and they would all stand in the living room. They would hold up the antenna with like tinfoil and stuff. I picture Luis standing in his living room, holding it up like the Bundys did. Isaiah Roca with the $12 learning tree. Even though it's not going to happen anytime soon, how would you handle a Gunther babyface turn? Thanks for all you do, Solo. Wish you nothing but the best. You're right, it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel here. I think it's just a case where you start feuding him with heels. It's literally as simple as that. I mean, as dominant as he has been, if they continue to book him in a very strong way like this, I don't think it would take much more than just having him feud with some hated heels on the roster and him going out there and just chopping the shit out of them. That's it. I don't think you need to do much more than that. I think people would understand now and get behind him. Like, there's nothing that he has to do to turn. I don't want to see him go out there and start kissing the fans' asses. He doesn't have to do any. He doesn't even have to make the save for like a top babyface. It would just be a matter of the people that you have him work with. And if he's working with heels and people that the fans genuinely hate and want to boo, I think they'll just naturally gravitate towards him because they respect him and the way he's been booked like a beast, you know, like a final boss. And I think the fans would get behind him. Simple as that. Dark Effect. The suffering succotash days were the worst days of Raw in history. The worst days creativity the company has ever seen. Watching those shows was a real slog. Watching them, try reviewing them. Although I will say, it gave me some good material. Sometimes, like, the best shows are obviously the ones that are fun to watch and they're engaging and you've got good stories and you've got interesting characters and you've got hot crowds. Like, those are the best shows. But if I had to rank them on a scale, like, what's the worst shows to watch? I feel like, I don't want to like use tonight as an example, but like you have these shows that are just like, it was all right. Like, they're neither great nor absolutely terrible. They're just kind of in the middle and they're just dull and boring and you can't even like make fun of them in a fun way. At least the really awful, terrible shows, I mean, those are some of my best rants, if we're being honest. But like the really terrible shows will oftentimes give you some great material to work with. When you have just a very boring, middle of the road, dull show, you got nothing. It's like trying to pull blood from a stone, you know? It's like, ugh, God, this is fucking terrible. And those Raws from 2018, 2019, you're right. Those were some of the worst Raws of all time. Absolutely. Luis also here, I see, dropped a member message, which I don't always get to see, but I saw this giant block of text just came across my screen. Sorry for being angry that I can't watch SmackDown through the traditional rabbit ears. Do you see AJ Styles going to TNA ever again, knowing that Nick Aldis was the one that ended his tenure there? I don't see what one has to do with the other, but no. Not for more than maybe a one-off. I mean, now the WWE and TNA are in a working relationship together. It's possible there could be a one-off at some point. But do I see him going back to TNA? No, of course not. He's gonna retire and end his career in WWE. It's not going to be TNA. It's not going to be AEW. It's going to be in WWE. Smoking Dried Chicken Without Flavor, Solo and Roman during WrestleMania 39, Goodfellas parody by the Bloodline, the biggest Easter egg. You know what? I think a lot of us pointed that out at the time. Like the very end of that vignette, it definitely was foreshadowing something between them. Uffman, shout out to Uffman, who's been a channel member for 38 months, not years. I haven't had memberships open for that long. 38 months. Boy, I mean, if he was a fucking channel member for 38 years, I'd have him co-hosting the show with me. Alex, whom from WWE would you like to have a match in TNA? From WWE, who I would like to have a match in TNA? I don't know. I'm thinking about it more in terms of the Knockouts division and who I might like to see wrestle Jordan. You know, I'd like to see wrestle Jordan Grace because they're both two very strong women. Bianca Belair. I think Bianca Belair and Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title, that would be a hell of a match. Vampira says, You've been doing this since 1986? I feel like it sometimes. I feel like I have. I mean, look, I was one of the early entrants in this game. Just not that early. Solo's been rocking it since 1986. That's very impressive. What was I on back then? A Commodore 64? Cameron Spencer. What would your strategy be for surviving a zombie apocalypse? Would you turn into a cannibal to survive? No, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead on day one. Although, well, you know what though? My strategy for surviving a zombie apocalypse, shout out to, hold on a second here. This right here. This would be my strategy for surviving a zombie apocalypse. This would come everywhere with me. And I probably would last a few days before I got killed, but you know, I would take out a few zombies, I think, with this. So that would be my strategy. If you're wondering why does Solo keep a barbed wire baseball bat next to him at all times, you never know. You never know who may try to come at me during one of these streams. You always have to be prepared. Shout out to Oz and Glorious, by the way, for that gift. The most unexpected gift that I've ever received. But it may just save my life in a zombie apocalypse. Cameron, thank you. Smoking Dried Chicken, the Chris Jericho learning tree is a marijuana. It's a marijuana? Okay. Devin from New Jersey, any Meet the Solomonster events coming up? Yes, tomorrow, actually. I'm going to be at the NYC Arena for House of Glory. So if you are coming to the show, it's Puerto Rican weekend. So you can meet the Solomonster because I will be at the show. Otherwise, none at the moment, but stay tuned. Uffman Entertainment, 38 years. Wow. I guess I became a member at the age of 4 years old. Yeah, you were a youngin' at the time. You've been supporting for a long time, though. And Garfield Burke, you are a really funny podcast host. Well, thank you, Garfield. I used to watch you when I was a kid. Well, as long as I can make you, if I can entertain you more than SmackDown did, then I've done my job. And I appreciate the super chat. Barry MK, did you ever see The Walking Dead games by Telltale? Yes, I did. And in fact, I played out the whole Lee Clementine story, and it was very emotional. It might have been the first time I really got that emotional during a video game story. But if they, I don't remember if there was a second game. If there was, I didn't play it, but I played the first one. And the first one was very good. Lee and Clementine. Now I'm getting sad all over again. Well, thank you guys for all of the fun super chats and all the messages. Thank you for showing me a ton of love here on this stream. We are currently sitting at 453 likes. That means that we have unlocked. You hear that noise? That's the vault opening up. That means we have unlocked. Be the Booker has been achieved. David Thering coming in with $2. Jericho learning tree equals Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And Base Beer says Solo with the bat as DLC for the next big zombie game. I like that idea. I think that works. Let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
All right. It is time. It is time again to be the Booker. Very excited to unveil the updated men's Be the Booker in the main event. I have not had the chance to update the other ones yet, but I'll get around to that this week. We'll update the women's. We'll update the tag teams, stipulations, for those rare times that we do the stipulations. But for now, let's take her for a spin, and we begin with, speaking of stipulations, how do you like that? Triple threat. We are booking ourselves a triple threat, just like we're getting a triple threat for the women's tag team titles at Clash at the Castle next weekend. How do you like that? All right, well, here we go. We got to pick 3 teams here, and we begin with the Mega Maniacs, brother. Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. The Mega Maniacs. Let's see who else we got. Look, Hogan was always good for business. So, at least most of the time. So we're starting off good. Then we got Booker T and Goldust. That was a fun team. I enjoyed Booker T and Goldust. See, this is already a win. I feel like no matter who we pick here for the third team, this is already a win here. We got 2 high-profile tag teams. Third team is going to be the Von Erich boys. Look at that. Kerry and Kevin Von Erich. You know what? That may be the best tag team match that we have ever booked. By the way, I like everyone now is I like everybody now suggesting what Hulk Hogan's password was. Justin says Mouth of the South 84. Yeah. I still say brother. I still say it's brother, dude, or Jack is what got him hacked. But yeah, I think we just booked the best tag team match in the history of Be the Booker. You got Hulk Hogan with Beefcake, but all right, we'll take him. We got Hogan, we got Booker T and Goldust, and we got the Von Erichs. I can't think of a better match that we booked. That's a winner right there. All right. Women's Be the Booker. Always very exciting. Again, I'm almost positive Daphne is in here. I would not have left her out. We begin with, in Women's Be the Booker, the man, Becky Lynch. There she is, Becky 2 belts, taking some time away. When we see her back, we don't know. Could be a while. HH. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's what it was. His big sign-off was his password, HH. All right, Becky Lynch going to go one-on-one with Carmella. I'll give that the ding. You know, they've had matches before, and they weren't bad. Yeah, you know, it's been a while since we've seen Carmella. I know she had drop foot syndrome, I think it's called. She's got some nerve issues in her foot that came as a result of her pregnancy. So she's been dealing with that. And I don't think there's any timetable for her return, but hopefully she is doing okay. And now the new and improved. The new and improved men's Be the Booker. We got some new entries in here. So let's see if we land on any of them. Hey, Smoking Dry Chicken Man, thank you for the 5. Thank you very much. He's coming with a bunch of them tonight, and that's very cool. I'll get to your messages here in a bit. Let's take this bad boy for a spin. Kick things off here with Sabu. The homicidal, genocidal, suicidal Sabu. Let's see who Sabu is going to be torturing in the main event. It will be Sabu going one-on-one with Danhausen. Sabu and Danhausen in our main event. We were so close to a clean sweep. We really were. I wanted this to be a clean sweep kind of night. I really did. Haven't we landed on Danhausen like 3 times in the last 2 weeks? Why do we keep landing on this guy? Well, we'll have to save some of the new entries, I guess, for the next installment. Keep you waiting on pins and needles for that. Yeah, you know what? I think he cursed it. I think Danhausen put a Danhausen curse on Be the Booker. I think that may be what happened. You would pay to see it? Well, I mean, hey, you might pay to see it, but not if it's in the main event, I don't think. I don't think too many people are going to look at that as a main event. That's a dark match, says Kevin. I wouldn't go that far. At least Rampage. It's a Rampage match. Uffman Entertainment with the $5 super chat. These are the final ones. If you got anything to say, get them on in. Uffman, I remember getting emotional when I beat Legend of Zelda Link to the Past on SNES. I think it was the kick-ass music at the end of the game. I've never beaten the original Legend of Zelda. That will always be my my white whale. Garfield says that was a Goodfellas reference. Oh. I should know that. Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies. Shout out to Phil Dog. Am I doing a review for Battleground on Sunday? No. No, but I will be watching it. I will be tuned in. So I will be watching Battleground, but I am not planning on going live after Battleground. We have got Smoking Dry Chicken Without Flavor. You're partying with Ricky Starks, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, MJF, and LA Knight in Miami. Choose one of these 5 wrestlers to be the designated driver. Cody Rhodes. Now, I know Cody Rhodes has talked about having a libation or two, as he puts it, on his bus. Let us never forget.
I am the learning tree.
Speaking of drinking.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Grey Goose over here. How appropriate. But let us never forget that post-show scrum with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso when they were both all shit-faced. And even then, Cody was still, he was out there. He was being a total pro. Trying to keep it together. So I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes as the designated driver. Although he doesn't drive, right? He's got his bus. His bus driver will drive him. Cody Rhodes has a designated driver. So he doesn't have to worry about that. Then again, Cody Rhodes is riding around in a bus with a giant advertisement for vodka on the side of it. So maybe I shouldn't have picked the guy that is promoting a vodka brand. Maybe that was a bad idea. Yes, that was the infamous "Do you feel him, sir?" And Base Beerus, God of Seduction, with the $12 learning tree. How appropriate that we end with the learning tree. I'd like to see AEW and WWE make better use of their pay-per-view pre-shows. Sunday Night Heat used to have segments and promos that directly impacted the main show, like Austin dressed as a cameraman in a cage. Yeah, I think that was, oh my goodness, was that the Breakdown pay-per-view where he lost the title in the main event against Kane and Undertaker? I think that might have been that show. Yeah, I wish it would be too. I mean, the pre-shows now on both companies are fucking useless. So, I wish they had some value too. But, what can you do? Vodka on the side, brandy in the bus. Whoa. I think we'd all like to have some brandy in the bus. Good for him. He's the champ. He's living it up. Vodka and brandy is a winning recipe. Yes, indeed. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you guys for all the love, man. You guys killed it tonight on the Super Chats and broke in the new one. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you. We had some fun. I had more fun here than I did watching SmackDown. No joke. So thank you for making this a worthwhile Friday night. The first Friday SmackDown stream for the month of June. The next time I am live with you will be Monday night. That will be for Raw. I will be...
Do you feel him, sir?
Oh, I feel him. There you go. There it is. Asking you shall receive, Solomonster. Thanks for a great stream and have a good night. David Thiering. Thank you very much, David. Man, David crushed it. Crushing it all night long is David Thiering. Love to see it. But as I was saying, I will be at the NYC Arena tomorrow for the House of Glory show. If you see me, say hello. Don't be shy. Hopefully I will see some of you there. And then episode 865 of the podcast is coming up on Sunday. I don't know when. I wish there was more news, frankly, this week. But we got some things to talk about. Also, it would be a good time, frankly, to get your questions in. Email me. thesolomonster@gmail.com. If you got a question that you've been wanting to drop, there may be a big mailbag this weekend, so get them on in. Holy shit, look at this. Oh boy. Wow.
We're having a party here on the street. We're Barry Horowitz.
Oh my goodness. Uffman Entertainment. With a $200 super chat bomb.
Yowie wowie.
Even the Fiend can't believe it. Yowie wowie indeed. Uffman, he wanted to go out in style. Everyone seems to be bummed about Be the Booker, so here's some joyful music. Enjoy the weekend. Uffman, thank you. Holy shit. I think everybody's going to be enjoying the weekend now. Man, he just out of nowhere. Like an RKO out of nowhere. And we still have Base Beerus, who sent in a 5 just before that. Final Countdown or Enter Sandman as an entrance theme. What other song would you feature at a Hog show and for who? Also, Rick Rude's theme was great. Rick Rude's theme was great both in WWE and in WCW. He actually had great music in both companies. And it's a shame that I think they've dubbed his WWE music over with some generic garbage, I think, on Peacock, which is fucking terrible. Final Countdown or Enter Sandman, I love them both. But I gotta go Enter Sandman. I gotta go Enter Sandman, and again, that Sandman entrance at One Night Stand 2005, best entrance of all time. What music would I feature at a Hog show? I mean, anything. There's any number of things I'd love to feature at a Hog show. You know, I come out to Foreigner, tooth and nail. I have theme music. That's my theme song. I was told one day, hey, you need theme music. You got 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't have a lot of time to think about it. I'm like, well. So it was suggested to me. Now, of course, I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I would have picked something different, but it's a part of me now. Now I'm associated with it, so I'm kind of stuck. But it's not a bad song. It's not a bad song. But yeah, Uffman again, man, holy shit. Thank you very much. Sending us out in style. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and do come on back on Monday night. And don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. You can become a channel member at any time, whether we're live or not. Memberships are always open. Super thanks in the comments section. If you want to drop a super thanks after the fact, you can do that as well. All of these things are open and always available here on the channel. Any way you want to show your support or just showing up and joining for a live stream. So be well, stay safe, have a great rest of your night, and I will see you back here very soon for more Sound Up live on YouTube. Till then, take care, guys.